Everybody, and it is Eric with Black Ink Creative Partners, Black Ink Events, and the Procurement Com brand. Tonight, I'm going to be hanging out. We're going to be doing some coffee table talk, some gossip about all things retro, all things pop culture, all things film, and we're going to be talking to several generations here. So it's not just me and a bunch of my old friends hanging out reminiscing. We got a whole set of generation here to talk about their experiences growing up, the things they miss. Was it for the better? Was it for the worse as they changed? We will find out. All things pop culture, all so things hey, look at that feedback loop. And we're going to be talking to several generations. Um, I'm not perfect, and that's cool because I am not perfect. This is my imperfect book with Tina Kraus. It is called Real American Graffiti. It is journeys through abandoned places, all across New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, and other places, New Orleans, Florida, Ohio, all over the place. Abandoned buildings, cemeteries, which is really my thing. Tina's the one who's going to crawl through dirty buildings. I'm not. And it is on sale at Amazon. And when I say imperfect, after it was published, I found typos, so forgive me. Check it out on Amazon, Real American Graffiti. It is available now as Kindle, hardcover, softcover. And if you want Tina to autograph it at Popped or Halfway to Halloween or the Wicked Garden, go pick it up now. I'll throw the QR code up there in a minute, and you can go get it. Also, big shout out to April Bousset, who is going to be at our AlterCon event. This happening April 25th. It should be scrolling on the bottom. In Atlantic City at the Showboat. This is her magazine. This is a high quality magazine. This isn't some rag. This isn't some fanzine. This is good quality stuff. Check it out. Ghostedmagazine.com, I believe it is. If not, just Google search Ghosted Magazine. You all know how to Google search. I really hope so. My first guest that I'm going to be bringing on today is an icon, a legend, destined to be remembered for a lot of things. And she is just badass. That's all I'm going to say. She is badass. I was introduced to her by one of our other guests, Frank Aguilar, who'll be on with us shortly. And me and Ginger hit it off really, really well. A lot of talking about the old days. And that's what kind of spurred this episode on today. So without further ado, I am going to bring on Hit Girl.
Ta-da! Now, see, when you say badass, I feel like I should be flexing my muscles.
Well, what is it? Like, you're like a third degree black belt, right? Or something?
Yes, I am. I am.
Yes.
But it's all what you feel, what you think. I'm 5'2". I'm a tiny little girl. I love people. Don't fuck with me. I will fuck you up. Other than that, I am the kindest, sweetest, most loving person you'll ever meet.
Listen, I believe you, and I'm pretty sure if somebody crosses you, they're gonna get bitch slapped. I mean, I get the feeling when you're that super, super sweet and that super, super cool and that super, super nice, there is always another side. Always.
And most of the time I am. You have to really, really, really push me to get me to the point where I push back.
Yeah.
My whole goal is to make every day fabulous. I want to laugh. I want to smile. I want to feel good. I've had a New Year's resolution for the last 2 years that I've kept, and it is every single day make one person smile.
I'm gonna make that easy for you because pretty much I've seen your social media and I'm sure you're making hundreds of thousands of people smile. All right. So let's talk Ginger real quick, and let me get my microphone in here so I sound better. Let's talk real quick about your career. I mean, I know you have, and we'll get to that in a minute. You're writing a biopic or a biography or whatever they call it, right?
Yes.
And you and I have talked, obviously, off camera, many conversations about, that era and that generation. people would just think the shit we did was just it's all fabricated. But you've got an entire book coming out about your life. Um, so quick, where for people who don't know you, where are you from?
Well, I'm originally from Rockville, Illinois, but where I'm from is a place where I believe that anything that you want, feel, believe, desire, dream of can come true. I'm a weirdo from Rockford, Illinois. I've always wanted to be big. I've always wanted to share a story. I've always wanted to make you feel as amazing as I feel. I am one of those strange people who don't call me a goofball here. I love life. I absolutely love my life. I have always wanted more, not necessarily more things or stuff, but I've wanted to experience. I don't want to miss a thing in life. So, who am I? Where am I from? I don't know. I'm a silly, wonderful, positive, happy um, girl who wants everything.
All right, so let's cut the BS here. You're an ass kicker. You go for what you want to go for. I mean,
I
you
do.
could
I
sugarcoat
do.
this as much as you want about enjoying life and looking for happiness, but you know what? You go for what you want and you go get it. That's the reality of it.
I
That's
absolutely
what
do.
I
And
think.
the things that I go for, I believe that a lot of the things I've gone for are what you think about, you desire, you want. And the difference between me and you is I've done it. I've experienced it.
Wait.
I,
You mean you figuratively because we've had a
yeah,
conversation. Okay.
yeah. Okay. So let's say you have a fantasy, you have a desire, you have something you dream about, something that makes your heart beat fast, something that makes you go, yeah. And it's in the back of your mind. You dream about it, you think about it. I have those same thoughts, feelings, desires. And the difference is I do them. I have very few, if anything, that when I'm gone, I'll go, damn, I wish I had. Because
Yeah.
I've tried everything. I really have.
Mm.
Except bad things. I'm not a bad person. I don't do
No,
things
I
that,
mean, I'm pretty sure we're never gonna find bad Ginger Lynn Allen news surfacing. Um,
no,
you know,
no.
whatever I guess is considered news today. Um, but talk to us. Tell everybody about you came from Rockford, what did you just said, or
I'm from Rockford, Illinois.
Rockford,
Uh,
Illinois,
I moved to,
and
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, and you moved to the West Coast,
I
right?
moved to California at 19. I had a family concern going on. My grandparents had moved there and they needed me to be there for them as much as I could. And I was actually a manager of a record store called Musicland. I'd been there for a couple of years, and when I came to California, I went into one of the local offices, local stores, and said, I would be fabulous here. I would love to work here. And they made me a troubleshooter. I had 9 stores. And
What?
so, yeah, I went from being an assistant manager to a troubleshooter. I was very good at what I did. And I was very lonely. I was working 70, 80 hours a week, loving what I did. I love music. But I would have to fire and hire and restock and do. And I found it very difficult to make friends. And so I'm lonely. I'm not making enough money. I'm working 70 hours a week and I need more. I'm not quite getting, I'm thinking California, living on the beach, sunshine, surfing, it's free and easy. No, it was hard as fuck. And so I answered an ad in the paper for figure models. I'm 5'2". Um, I know that figure models meant nude, and answered the ad. Thought, you know what? As long as I don't have to be tall, I can do this. I went in. I posed for Penthouse the next day.
No, really?
The very
Wow.
next day. And so they kept coming to me and saying, let's do commercial. I'm thinking, toothpaste, Polident, yay. Um, Commercial meant hardcore adult films. And I had the same stereotype image that a lot of people did in the early 80s, that the girls who did these films were a certain type of girl, and that I thought of drugs, I thought of hookers.
Mhm.
Um, I had no idea, and I was completely wrong. I mean, granted, I'm sure there were some girls that that was their story, but for the most part, it wasn't. And I had a whole new idea of what these girls were, and I thought, well, you know what? I love sex. I love this. I love that. I love the other thing. Um, I could be the girl that we all think we might want to be. And so I answered the ad. I posed for men's magazines. Eventually, I started doing adult. One, I met this woman who was beautiful, intelligent, articulate, um, someone that I looked up to, admired, and wanted to be. And I did it for 2 years and 3 months. I had time of my life. From there, I wanted more, as I always do. Made my way into the mainstream film community. My book covers all of these things,
Yeah.
you know, and it wasn't easy. I make it sound like, oh, I did this, I did that, and then the other. No, it was tough,
Well,
and it's not something that I would recommend to most women, most people. But I wasn't willing to give up ever,
I
and I'm
think I think in the '80s you came on in an era. The '80s was an era of decadence. It was the Me Too the me generation.
right.
It was parties. It was coke. It was drugs. It was the hardcore version of the free love generation, except we weren't trying to save the world. Um,
Yeah,
it's pretty much what it was. So, but I think what was interesting about the adult side of things, you came out of, there's a whole history in the adult industry about how we go from exploitation films to eventually the rating system, pornography, and then so on and so forth. But you also came about in a time when home video was exploding. you know
I could not have come back about at a better time. I made films for basically 2 years and 3 months, and the first year, over 40 of my films were shot on 35 millimeter. And then VCRs came into play, and I signed an exclusive contract with Vivid Video. So I was doing videos that when you went to the store and bought a VCR, you'd go to the VCR store, open up the curtains in the back of the DVD, and there was the Ginger Lynn section. And I was the girl next door. I was the girl that looked like I
the All
did the
American Girl.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it was perfect. And so I couldn't have come around at a better time. Um, I've been blessed.
Well, that's why I say you're an icon, right? You and a handful of that era of adult stars are really iconic because you paved the way in a lot of respects. Because you were in that transitional phase of where the adult industry was, what it was, and then that whole home video phase. And as they
Right?
started to phase out a lot of the film theaters, I mean, by the '90s, most of the adult theaters were pretty much gone. Home
Yeah.
video was dominating everything. We were moving into the DVD era. Um, so I think you are iconic. you were one of those that handful of iconic women. I think Christy is one of them, right?
Absolutely.
And I don't know if I ever say Seka or Sika.
Seika.
Depends on
Oh my
Sika.
God, I love Seika.
Yeah, and there was a few others that were very iconic at that point and influential in it.
Marilyn
The
Chambers.
Marilyn Chambers, yep. So, yeah, I mean, it was definitely the '80s was a time to and I often say this, it was an era where we were feral as children and as young adults. We were feral, but
So fun.
we were told not to get in the car with strangers offering candy. Meanwhile, we were feral.
Yeah, I was not good about listening to those rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got into the wrong cars with the wrong people many, many times.
Listen, I tell you what, I'll tell this story a little bit when we're talking a little bit further, but I had my own van incident, and I'll tell you the story later.
Oh
Literally a
no.
white van incident. We'll get to that. But you hits the mainstream film industry, right?
Yes,
So that's a leap, right? Because you're going into, I'm sure there's a part of the film industry that stigmatizes you for the adult stuff, right?
of course.
And then there's a part that embraces you because, you know, well, there's two parts that embrace you. One is like, oh, really cheap labor, right? That's how a lot of we see it even today, right? And then
Perfect.
the other part of that industry is like, oh yeah, like this is a person who's really really well known. Let's get him in our film. Let's pay him, and let's help them push them through mainstream. So, where do you land in the mainstream? Where do you start?
You know, I saw myself on film in an adult film, and I was mortified. I went, "Oh my God, not my performance, not my sex, my acting." And I thought, "Oh my goodness, I'm so horrible." And I always want to be the very best at whatever it is that I'm doing. And I was not the very best that I could be. So I enrolled in the Beverly Hills Playhouse. I studied for 6 years. Um, I started getting auditions for mainstream films. I I read for people who had no intentions of ever casting me in their films. I have three stories in my book. I have a Tony Scott story. Tony Scott, Ridley Scott's brother. I have a Ted Fields story. Three Men and a Baby. Oh, what's his big one? I don't know. I have three big, like, she's gonna make it kind of stories, and then no, we just want to see her naked. And
Get the movie. Like you already have movies. They don't need to see you naked.
rent the fucking movie. You don't need a new Polaroid. And then I have people who gave me a chance,
Yeah.
and the more I really cared, I really studied, and I really wanted to do well. And at this point in my career, I've done more mainstream films than adult.
Yeah. Good.
I've had incredible breaks with Rob Zombie and The Devil's Rejects and 31. Um, I've had American by Bandcamp. I've had the Vice Academy series. I've had the Metallica video, Turn the Page. I've had Wing Commander. There have been so many different elements and plateaus of my career that it's kind of a weird, it's not like I've gone from here up to here. You have to, I've been a niche kind of an actress. I've fallen into these wonderful little crooks and crannies,
Hmm.
and I wouldn't change any of it. And I thought about this recently. Would I really want to be the star of a big mainstream movie?
I don't know. Would you?
Ooh, I have to be really careful here how I say this. Um, I'm not political. When I play a character, when I play a role, I do it because I want to entertain you. I don't give a fuck about your beliefs, my beliefs. I do
Mhm.
it because I care, because I have fun, because I want to play a character. I want you to laugh, smile, get scared, whatever. And without being or saying the wrong thing, I want to entertain you. That's all I want to do. I don't give a fuck
Well, you
about
got
you.
our next guest that I'm going to bring on, cast you. Um, I met him at a convention in New Jersey. I think it was the New Jersey Horror Con or something like that last summer, and he really left an impression on me. He is a hungry man. Like this is a guy going for it, no holds barred. He's going out. He's making movies. Um, and we were talking, and when I do my events, all our events are really, as much as I love the fan community, it's really about the small business, the entrepreneurs, the
Oh
freelancers,
yeah.
the makers, all of them. I want to support them. I want to support people that I'm in that field in some capacity because we have our own film production company. And Frank just impressed the shit out of me. Like this is a man who did not. Well, he was like, we were just talking, and this is a guy. I don't, I'm gonna be like, yo, dude, you have a seat at our table anytime. There's a table reserved for you to set up. So I'm going to bring in Frank Aguilar. He is the person that introduced us, you and I.
Hi, Ginger. How are you?
Oh wait, I can never do that right. There we go. Hi,
Mhm.
Frank.
What's
Hey,
up?
I love you. I miss you. How are you, baby?
I'm good. How are you?
Better now that you're here.
Yeah, we're gonna see each other soon.
Well, I'm sitting in one of the spare bedrooms that when everyone came out and we did Original Sin, you didn't stay in this room, but every time I'm in here, I think of you.
Oh yeah, I did
Yeah, I
stay.
do.
I did stay in that room one night.
Were you in this room one night?
Yeah,
Okay, that must be it. That must be it. I'm good, baby. Thank
still
you.
lingering.
So yeah, Frank, tell us about you. I mean, you have ton of short films, a few feature films. You're working on a new feature film, right?
Yeah. Um. Well, my son and I were the co-founders of Strange Films, August Aguilar, and we've been making films for this year is our 10th anniversary.
Congrats.
So we went back to the Gifted series, and there's a character named Chica that she was in the last film, Original Sin. That Ginger was the star of that, and it's a continuation, but
Is Chica Eileen?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a spinoff with Chica, but it ties and blends into the Gifted films. Even Barbara is mentioned in the story and all that. So it's the final film, and I'm excited about it. It was supposed to be shot in Los Angeles, but our business partners like just crumbled, and we just decided to do it around here. And so right now we got a Kickstarter, and we're trying to raise money to get it done. And it's a good story. I'm getting a lot of feedback on that script. So
Good, good, and and I'm glad I met you. I mean, not just because you introduced me to Ginger, but like I said, introducing you. You know, when we stood there, it was you were all heart, man. You were all heart. You weren't standing there like buy my DVD type of pitch. You were like pitching. You were talking. You were living strange films. It wasn't. Oh, buy a DVD. Oh, buy my movie. You know what I mean? It was the passion was coming through, and that's I think that's you talk about Ginger, you talk about, being the lead in a big studio film. Studio films have no passion. They really don't. It's all corporate. It's all producer, executive producer driven budgets. How many asses can we put in seats, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
There's no
Um,
heart and there's no family. One of the things I loved about working with Frank and Aguilar and Eileen and Jennifer and there's so many I'm leaving out everybody. There's so many people, but there's heart and there's love and there's soul and there's I'm going to sound like a geek here. There's this huge family element, and
yeah,
I feel like I will always be forever friends and family with Frank and the entire um, cast and crew of Strange Film Studios.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the vibe I got when I met you, Frank, was heart. Like the heart, it was just all heart. You know what I mean? And that speaks volumes, because to me, an entrepreneur, wherever they are, when they have heart in what they're doing, when they're putting that passion, that love, and it's coming through in how they're talking about their product and their business, that's huge. That's huge, because, having been around the business community for as long as I have, with the business development stuff that we do, I see people. It's a very small percentage. I hate to be this brutally honest, but the reason 92% of small businesses fail, I think, is not just because they don't have money and they don't have resources. I think there's a big percentage that their heart really isn't in it. They're not. It's not their passion. They're not chasing their passion, and I think that's a big percentage of that. But yeah, that's what immediately made me gravitate towards Frank. I was like, this guy's got heart, man. I'm like, I'm all in.
It's like August and I haven't really made any money, but we still have that passion in every project we do. After 10 years, we're still charged and excited about starting something new. So,
well, we should talk, because our production model and our relationships, we have a lot of resources that can help raise money to make money. So we should definitely talk about all those things that are available to you and how you get access to that stuff. Because I think that's important too. It's one of the things I have to deal with on the business side. And the reason we started a lot of our business development stuff is for the very reason that there's so many people don't realize what's out there. And then when they do finally get it, the system is designed to make it difficult. It's like, if you can't finish this application, oh, sorry, fuck you. Move on. That's the way the system is designed. So, we should definitely talk about that. So yeah, I mean, Eileen reached out to me to volunteer for the event, and I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, who are you? Well, she said, oh, I work for Frank. I looked her name up, and I'm like, what? You're not volunteering. I'm giving you a celebrity table. What the fuck are you talking about?
Eileen is amazing. She's one of my favorite actors, friends, people.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is, to me, is one of the most important things, the way we approach things. We also have a fight night brand where we're trying to change the way young boxers are handled, amateurs and early pro boxers, on what they do in the industry. I'll tell you right now, it sucks, and it's been like this. Is a young boxer, not somebody who's on Netflix or a major fight, right? They got to go sell tickets to their own fight.
Really?
That is just a shit model. Right. So we looked at that. I'm with a couple of people, Raheem over at WBB and Martin Conroy at Battlefield Commanders, who are in the industry, in the boxing and MMA industry. And we were discussing how we fix this. And it's the same thing. And one of my big ways I look at things is, I want to treat the unknown boxer, the young boxer, as $1 million fighter now, before they're $1 million fighter. And that's the way I see, like, the creative community, artists, actors, producers. Treat them today like $1 million producers, $1 million actors. Like, these are names today. Give them that perk. Put them at a table. Give them a hotel room. Whatever we got to do, put them in front of people and give them that same respect, so that they have, they can forge ahead, instead of like, oh, you can't put 1,000 tickets. You can't sell 1,000 tickets to my con show. Oh, well, okay. No, y'all get a table. There's enough at the table for everybody. So that's, and I don't want to keep tooting my horn, but I just want to deliver that message for the people to hear.
That's amazing. I didn't realize that, how difficult for a young fighter, and coming from a sports background, a martial arts background. I did a lot of boxing, and I love boxing. I love all about the sport.
You're like a third-degree black belt. Nobody's fucking with you.
Yeah, I did 2 professional fights.
What?
I did.
Did you know this, Frank?
Did. And
I don't think so.
There you go. Your next action movie, Frank.
The first one, I got my butt kicked, big time. And the second one, I was 46 years old, and the girl I was fighting was 29. And I had knee surgery about 8 weeks before. And so there was, there was a what's the thing, the mutual respect. You don't go.
Yeah, you don't go after the damage. Yeah.
Right. And so we get through the first round, and she had never had anyone score points on her. And I got through the first round, I didn't score any points, but I got through it.
What are you
Second round.
talking about? Like a boxing match?
No, this was a full-on martial arts
Oh,
sparring.
oh, okay. Mhm.
Yeah. And so we're in the second round, and I scored my first point. Third round, I remember in between the rounds, I'm in the back, and they're pouring milk down my throat, and I'm dying, and I can't breathe, and I go back out, and I get her down. We're grappling, and we're on the ground, and she just kicks my knee out, and I go down, and that's it. And it was so brutal, so tough. I still got paid, but it
Why
was
did they
tough.
pour milk down your throat?
What, honey?
Why did they pour milk down your throat?
Because I couldn't breathe. Water wasn't working. It was just here. It was anything to hydrate me. No, it was just. But
Is that
I wasn't making it. Yeah, I was old. She was young, and she got me. She got me.
She got you dirty.
She did get me dirty, and the thing is now, I haven't fought in about 8 years. I can't anymore. I've had my fourth knee surgery. I'm done. But I respect the sport. I respect what the fighters do and boxers and the whole thing.
So I want to introduce you both to an up and coming actress, producer, director, writer. I met her a few weeks ago at a Power Rangers event, and and as I told you, Frank, I was looking at the video she produced, her own version, so to speak, and she's going to talk a little bit about it, of with the Power Rangers. It's based around music, and I'm looking at this video, and I was just looking at the texture, right? A lot of the texture of the video, like what it looked like, and the style. And like she landed that style, like as a producer, as a creative, as a director, she landed everything. I'm watching this and I'm thinking I'm watching a Power Rangers episode. That was my first initial look at it, because it had that familiarity at that level, like, oh, this is a Power Ranger. And it wasn't. It was her episode. It was her pilot. And I was just floored by that. And then she's acting on top of it, right? So, I was just like floored by what she did, and super impressive. And I want to introduce everybody to Courtney Menzel. Did I get that right, Courtney?
Menzel.
Menzel.
And as my mom tells her kindergartners, it's like pencil. So that helps.
Hi, Courtney.
Hi, nice to meet y'all.
Nice to meet you.
So, Courtney, you have pretty awesome resume. We looked at it. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your passion.
Yeah, loaded question. Or like more so where to begin. I guess speaking of my project, I never took my Red Ranger costume off as a kid. So I went swimming to the grocery store. Signs I was going to become an actor is shocking now. Not really at all. And yeah, just have always done it. A lot of my background has been in theater, and then grad school felt the shift and excitement for television and film and that medium, and feeling like there's so much content out there that there's a space for everyone. And that's really exciting to not only help continue that momentum, but also be a part of that always feeling like there can be a space for me. And so, yeah, I find my heart is in TV a lot of the time. It takes a lot of what building a show together in theater, and you rehearse and then you run and you're with this group of people and you become this family. But my excitement for the film and TV medium and being along with a group of people, and you're making a series, and ideally you're making many seasons of that series. And that really excites me, because ultimately at the end of the day, I'm a collaborator and I want to make other people's ideas come to life, whether that's as an actor or producer or even PA. Like, how can I help? And there's a lot of film fulfillment there as someone who often like, I don't necessarily always have my own ideas, but I am very much a like, you got an idea and I have skills. How can I help you?
Right. That's cool. And, you know, I think,
Dude, I love that.
and I think that's a thing too. I'm always talking about the collaborative economy, right? Because, you know, we hear the creative economy, the creator economy, $1 billion industry. And there's this amongst the small business community, amongst actors, amongst artists, amongst anything, there's that competitive side. Like, oh, you know, there's always that competitive thing, and people will not ask help from a skilled person who, because they're worried about, because there's that competitive thing. And I'm always throwing that away. I'm like, there's enough at the trough for everybody. So when I hear you talk about collaboration, that, you know, that piques my interest, because, you know, if we do work together, if people did work, I always say, if a new bakery opens up down the street from another baker, don't get pissed off. Go down there, see what he has, and then talk to that other baker and say, you don't make this, and I don't make this, let's trade. Let's sell each other shit. Let's tell each other where to go. You know, I believe that's a great model and a great way. And maybe I learned that from the original Miracle on 34th Street when Santa was sending everybody to Gimbals. I don't know. I don't know if you've seen that one, Courtney, the original.
I think it's more about like, especially when it's, because this career, and especially like as an actor, it is inherently competitive. Yeah. But that is the moment I think our industry gets torn apart if we also take it inherently as a competitive industry and then intentionally continue to make it competitive. It's like, that's not helping anyone, but it's not competition. And I also think there's something to be learned about like, oh, if I'm up for something and my best friend is, and they get it and I don't, I can equally be up, like sad. And then eventually like a couple of days go by, you got to move on. But I can also be super thrilled for them. And it can all simultaneously exist at the same time. Because we as humans,
but that's for your friend.
Multitudes.
What if it's a stranger? That's for your friend. You know,
well, yeah, I mean, even for a stranger, because like, and also it's like, what's meant for you is going to find you. And that's harder to believe than to say sometimes, and depending. But I think ultimately, like, it's about community and it's about being there to support one another in this industry because it is so inherently cutthroat. That I don't think we need to add on top of that, like, oh, I need to be a cutthroat. It's like, no, just be a kind person, be supportive, and like, you're gonna have your time too.
Yeah, and I think to what your thought about strangers too is, I think, Frank, if we are beat out on something by a stranger, whether it's getting a part or getting an award or getting a featured or whatever it is, we need to worry less about, oh, he got it or she got it, and more about like, why did they get it? Like, what didn't we have that we have to tighten up?
Yeah, I wasn't meaning where. Oh
no, I'm not saying you were.
I think it still comes down to, and I'm not talking about friends. I'm talking about there is still competition out there.
Yeah,
there is a slight competition, and it's like, if let's say your film's in a film festival, and that your film outdoes the other one, and Strange Films have seen that many times where we're like, how did the comedy win Best Picture in a horror film festival, and we didn't win it?
Yeah,
we were both.
Yeah.
Okay. Competition, no matter what.
Let's level set that shit.
But the thing is, we've been at it for 10 years. We don't care. We're not even caring about awards or anything right now. Our focus is on something else, and we're not worried about getting the film in the film festival or even competing with other people. But I don't know how many years you've been in, but we've been in 10 years and we haven't stopped. So we know all the disappointments and everything else. So we're focused on other things now.
Well, Frank, let's level set that for real, because it's real talk. A lot of times, festivals, competitions, all that stuff, when there's a real strange shift happening, like you said, a comedy winning during a horror convention, there's got to be a question to that shit. You know what I mean? You may not want to put the energy into that, but at the end of the day, there's got to be a question as to, and it's not like, what did they do better? Because if it's not a horror comedy, so to speak, how? Like, whose ass was getting kissed to get those extra points? And I mean, that's the reality of it. And we deal with we. I don't
Yeah.
think there's a time in our history, human history, where we don't have to deal with shady, crooked shit. It's the bottom line, you know. But with that, I want to talk real quick about this. And again, forgive me, Courtney, your Power Rangers homage, this show you made that is this episode again, and I want to make sure that we get that link out to everybody. You know, so we'll get it out if you could, if you can put it, if there's a, I don't even know if you guys got a chat window to put it in, but talk to me about that because I was impressed as hell. Like I was like, holy shit! I thought it was a Power Rangers episode. I was blown away.
Yeah, that was the goal and the point. So for the full title for Ginger, Frank, and anyone watching, it's Jamingers, an Overture of Gold and Silver, and it is a exclusively licensed original television series that follows the Jamingers, who are a team of superheroes that are music focused and defending music, sound, and the universe from the evil forces of Master Decibel. And I am not the owner, but I do hold the exclusive license to the IP. So when I got introduced to the project, I really just had a lot of questions of who is Ray, who is the Jam and Gold Jaminger, and what is her relationship to the Silver Jaminger. And it really, the series catapulted out of that question of what is their relationship? Where do they come from? How do they feel about each other? And then that quickly spiraled to, oh, I think this is an episodic series. And I think here's their whole backstory and how do we get there? And so it just kept evolving and people kept saying yes. And something we've been really intentional to do is honoring the fandom that so many, on myself included, like love about Power Rangers and the nostalgia and growing up with it. But now as an adult and like a watcher of television and movies, and what I enjoy and what I'm interested by is that character and relationships and what is their relationship to each other and how did those characters develop both from the audience perspective and then also like as an actor getting to experience all the hills and valleys that a character has. So our hope is that we are honoring the fandom and also elevating and enhancing it by taking it a step further where you're going to care about these characters. You might care about them a little bit more than like seeing the stunts. Probably not the morph because that is beautiful and wonderful and never gets old and was dreams come true, or transformation rather. But you're also going to want to know who they are and you're going to be really invested. And it's narrative episodic television rather than the monster of the week model, which I'm not knocking, but I find more interesting if we get more story.
Yeah, and I think, and I see you nodding your head, Frank, and I think you can attest to this too, Ginger, is, I think when you're doing that sort of episodic storytelling where it's just one story per episode, especially in an area that it has, this in-between demographic, you have children and you have fans who remember being children. It really ends up, it's a tough sell to tell a story to a kid to make them understand and keep them tuned in. Mm-hmm. But the episodic stuff and the deeper character development and things like that tend to really draw in that older audience.
And the hope is that our show is for everyone. And even if you've never seen an episode of Power Rangers, you're gonna know, like you're gonna be able to understand our story.
Who the hell hasn't seen?
And at the end of the day, it's superheroes and good versus evil. And like, will you get a little bit more out of it if you are familiar with Power Rangers and you're going to find little Easter eggs that we've intentionally put in there or like the camp factor? Sure. But also I wanted it to be as accessible as possible so that anyone can watch it and all families. Like it is a show that we wanted everyone of any age to be able to get something from it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, Frank, you remember Power Rangers, right? Because you had a kid. He had to be watching Power Rangers.
Well, yeah, but August was into Power Rangers. I
Yeah.
remember, but I think he still is. But I was already old when that shit was coming out. But
Yeah.
I think the only time I was watching it was I was stoned or something like that.
Ginger, you've seen Power Rangers?
My son.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I mean, I think that's how a lot of us. I think it's a lot of the older set was introduced to Power Rangers through our children in a lot of respect.
Exactly.
It was my he was watching Power Rangers when he was a kid, so that's how I was introduced to it. But see, the thing for me though is I was introduced because I was buying a lot of bootlegs back in the day. So I was buying the original Kaku Ranger. So we were watching unsubtitled,
Right.
Sentai Rangers from VHS tapes that go all the way back to the day. I mean, we were getting anime from the local bootlegger and stuff like that. So when I did see it, because it was like there's another one, it's called Kamen Rider.
Mm-hmm.
And that was another one we were watching bootleg before, there was Netflix and everybody was licensing this stuff. We'd go down to there was a flea market in New Jersey on Route 1 and 9. It was called the Route 1 and 9 flea market. And there was a bootlegger in there, and we'd go get all these kung fu movies and anime, and yes, Ginger, even adult movies bootlegged, right?
Wait, don't put me just in that category, but I get it.
Well, we were getting bootleg. Like, let's be real here. Like, we were getting bootlegs.
Right.
Like, it was the dude sitting there with the camcorder in the movie theater, watching, and we were buying all those bootlegs, like if it was mainstream or not. But yeah, that's how I was introduced. But yeah, most of us were introduced via our children, I think. But I want to introduce, to you all, an up and coming, what I would argue is a media titan, a media mogul, in my opinion. She may argue with me. But her name is Kris Valkyrie, and she's a fan. Like, she's a fan's fan. She is Power Rangers fan, and she was actually at Ranger Station dressed as a Yellow Ranger. So let me bring in the ever powerful, ever vocal, future queen of podcasting, friend of mine, Kris Valkyrie.
Hi.
Kris, how are you, beautiful?
Thank you. Hi, Ginger. Frank, actually,
I always go hi, beautiful, because you are.
Thank you. You're just as gorgeous. Hi, Courtney.
Hi.
So, I got to put this out there too, because, collaborative, we talked about collaborative economy, right? I brought that up. Kris is one of those people that will push the shit out of you on social media just because. There's no like, hey, 20 posts for $200, or I'll get you 3,000 subscribers. There's none of that. She's just like, boom, like, yep, boom, you're in the loop, boom. She's always supporting the creative community. So, for all you guys, make sure you link up with her on your social media channels, because, she's the type of person that'll push you out. And she's got a growing following, and she's got a great story, and she's community driven, and I don't know what else good shit I could say about her, because I don't think I've found anything bad yet, but I'm working on it, Kris.
Well, you're going to cut me out immediately because I have to go.
Okay, well, Ginger, no, I appreciate you coming on.
I love you all. I wish I could stay here all night, but I have another commitment. I wish you all the best. I'm so glad to be part of this group. Thank you for including me.
Hey, before you dip, just announce where people could find you online.
My basic handle, where you can find me on almost everywhere, is Blame It on Ginger.
Blame It on Ginger. And
if you ever get pulled over, just go, Ginger did it. You can go Blame It on Ginger. It's always my fault. I always had something to do with it. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ginger.
Pleasure.
Bye. Now I don't know what button push.
So, Kris.
Yes.
Welcome to the Psycho Circus.
the Psycho Circus, the chaos. You know, I love some chaos. Uh, I don't. I forgot the question because Ginger was leaving.
Well, I mean, we will start off with the new question because I'm getting old and I forgot the question too. But you are a Power Ranger fan. I saw you there.
Yeah. So I was wow. How was I was 6 when the Power Rangers came out, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Um, I I fell in love with it. I was like, "Oh my god, what is this? This is so cool." As a kid that was like I wasn't a big 90210 fan, but I was a big Saved by the Bell fan, like those little shows that we had. And then like the only reason why I started watching Power Rangers is because I was waiting for X-Men to come on, but X-Men didn't come on. Power Rangers came on instead. And I was like, "What's this?" So it was like a mixture, and actually one of the people that I did interview even said it. It was like a mixture of what was done in Japan and then like the whole 90210 Saved by the Bell vibe. I was more Saved by the Bell than I was 90210. But then I was also that kid, like the popular characters that they didn't like, that everyone liked, I didn't like. Like I wasn't a Pink Ranger fan, I wasn't a Red Ranger fan. Like I was always rooting for like the Yellow Ranger and the Blue Ranger and the Black Ranger. That was me. And then we got introduced to Tommy, and I was probably like every little girl, like, "Oh my god, he's so cute." I'm sorry, Donnie Wahlberger, but Tommy is cute. So, like, yeah, I was a big Power Ranger fan. Unfortunately, I didn't keep up like a
Yeah.
lot of the fandom did and got into the different sequels that came out of it. I know I started rewatching it at one point where I think it's on Netflix and they have like these little pets or like little genie kind of things. It reminds me of Miraculous a little bit, to be like these little Kwamis that are part of them and they work with the Rangers. My daughter
So,
started watching it and I was like, "Oh my god, this is cute." And then I was like, "It's Power Rangers." And I'm like, "What?"
well,
So yeah.
I don't want to stay on Power Rangers. I'm gonna jump back real quick. We're gonna get a little horrifying because Frank, I and I don't know, Courtney, like what your take or your involvement in the horror scene is, like if it's a thing you like. But Frank, here you have I remember you talked about The Gifted a minute ago, a few minutes ago, but didn't you just do a new one, Cho?
Yeah, we shot that last summer
Okay.
in 20. What year are we in? 2025. We shot that last summer. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Cho because I want to get down some horror space here.
Well, we shot two Gifted movies kind of back to back with Ginger, and the last one was in Las Vegas, and we traveled out there and we did all this shit. So when I got back to Philly, I was like really burnt out, and I was like, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to step away from the movie stuff for a while. It just like kind of fucked me up. So I'm a couple of weeks later, a friend of mine called me, and he lives in I don't know, I think he lives in Asia somewhere, I forget where. And he's like, "Hey, I'm going to send a guy to you. He's a friend of mine, and he's a wealthy Asian man." And he was talking to me, and he said he wished he knew a filmmaker because he wanted to do an Asian version of The Hangover in like wherever in Hong Kong. And I said, I'll talk to him, but I'm not, I don't want to. He's like, he's going to take you guys to Hong Kong. And I'm like, I just got back from Vegas. I don't want to go to Hong Kong. Who would pass that up, right? So I'm like, I'm done. I need a break. I'm not going to Hong Kong. So he came down to he had his house in Jersey, and he met me in Philly, and we had a meeting. And I'm like, well, that's not really our genre, and I'm just really tired, and my son is busy with my grandson and all this shit. And he goes, well, I know you guys do a horror, so let me tell you a story. And that's how it all began. And the story he told me was the show was based on true events from his family was cursed in Hong Kong. So he told me this story, and he did some tricks on me that he's like, "You don't believe me, huh?" And I'm like, "No, well, I don't know." So he did something to my foot, and long story short, it kind of got me more interested in him.
Okay.
So he hired Strange Films to do a movie about his story. So he paid us. I wrote and produced it, and we shot. It was mainly an all Asian cast. We shot in Philadelphia and Hong Kong. I mean, in Chinatown. And about maybe 80% of that, what you see in that movie, is true, or at least based on true events. So that's what we did, and that was our last big project. And it was cool because he financed it, and I didn't have that much pressure. I didn't have any pressure to raise any money. So, and I had a lot of fun spending money. So that was that, and that kind of got me back in the game where I felt a little bit more confident because Cho was probably the best film I've ever produced. Like I said, because that was his money, and so we came back to the Gifted series, and I wrote this story called Chica La Salvadora, and like I said, we were supposed to film it in Los Angeles, but our business partners just crashed, and we brought it back over here, and right now I'm still casting. So if anybody's looking for parts, I'm still casting. Message me after.
Yeah, Courtney. There you go, Courtney.
Courtney too.
Yeah, both of you. So
I heard that Spanish lingo, so I'm always supporting my Hispanic
this
community.
show was all Asian. This film was all Hispanic. So, but we have some non-Hispanic roles. But even if I don't get you in this project, we're always filming. So let's get in touch. But
yeah, I mean,
I've been busy. I've been busy for like 2 years already doing shit. So
Nothing wrong. What is the saying? I'll sleep when I die.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Until you're 65 and you're like, shit, I'm doing that.
No, I've seen some viejitos. They're still going.
Oh,
So
yeah, listen.
hey,
Listen.
well, this kid still has some spark, but I'm about to turn 55 in a couple of weeks, so that's viejito right there.
Yeah,
so
no,
I don't know. I know Eric knows, but for the people to Hispanics actually saying a viejito, or I don't want people to think like we're being age like discriminative. Like when we say viejito, we mean it in an endearing way.
it's
Like
like
mi viejito. Yeah. So just in case, I'm just letting people know.
So I mean, I think Courtney definitely got to connect up with Frank, and I'll make sure to
Yes.
make that email loop. Same with you, Kris. I landed on Courtney for a part for the film we're working on. Sent it over to, and I was grilling this poor girl. I was like, "Can you be a bitch?
Oh.
Can you be a bitch? Can you be mean?" Because she doesn't come off, and that's the thing. We want somebody who doesn't come off like I'm some looking tough ass. And she's like, "Yeah, I could be a bitch."
It's somewhere in there. No, I was hearing, like when I was backstage, I was hearing about the series that I'm gonna check it out myself because like how they involve music in it, and as a person who loves music and everything with it, and then being a Power Ranger fan, I'm all
cool,
for
right?
it. But
That's
at
cool.
the same time, I'm like he said, I'm very supportive of everybody and anybody because you know, I believe in the sense like you support people the same way you would support the famous people because you don't know what break they're going to have, but at the same time, supporting that person is their rite of passage and maybe they'll do it for somebody else. So I also see like that, and any of my friends that have businesses or do anything, I all over it. Like I'm there and they'll be like, "Oh, I'll give you a discount." I'm like, "No, don't give me a discount." Or like I'll buy shit without them knowing and they're like, "Why didn't you tell me? I would have gave you a discount." Like they don't realize they're like sending it to me until they see like the name and the address and you're like, "Did
No,
you
you good.
did you
Listen.
just buy something?" So
You're good people, Kris. You're good
it's
people.
just
You
I
know.
feel like everyone deserves a chance, and I love the creative mind. I've been I'm that kid that I draw, I paint, I did photography, I got my major in videography and editing. You know, I majored in media studies. And I just love that creative process, and I feel like without the creative process and without creative people in the world wouldn't be as beautiful as it is. So that's the other reason why I feel like we
True.
need to support one another.
Definitely.
No, absolutely. I agree with everybody. Give me one quick second here.
So how many episodes do you have, Courtney?
Yeah, so episode 1 is out now. If you type in Jamminger's Overture or Jamminger's Overture of Gold and Silver, you'll find it. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the things. And we have the first episode out. Episodes 2 through 6 are completely written and pre-production ready. And our focus right now is gaining funding to make those future episodes.
Yeah, and we want to talk to you about that.
Sorry?
How much is a average episode? How much does the episode come out to?
I can tell you episode 1's budget,
Okay.
and that was every favor I could possibly probably build in my lifetime up to this point. And a lot of people were very gracious and either worked for very low rates or worked for free. And that's not something I want to do moving forward as someone who is very passionate about paying people for their time and their talent. So I can't say episode 2 through 6 budget is the same, but episode 1 was about 50,000.
Oh wow, okay. I gotta check it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
if you add in like that, and that's including like insurance, legal fees, etc. And again, that's not everyone actually walking away with money.
I imagine you didn't have a marketing budget for that, did you? To market it and deliver to gain audience?
I mean, we have a marketing team now, and we have a marketing budget now for the continuation of episode 1. But we did have some financier money, like individual financiers that were a part of like my life, and they supported me as an artist, and they said we will continue to do so. So I was very gracious for them, but it was mostly self-funded by me. And there is acknowledgement of also privilege in that, and being in a position when I was making episode 1 to do that. That's not necessarily something I'm fully in a position to do to make the future episodes, but it was something for the pilot that I was advised and also felt very solid in, of like, okay, I can make this, and that's my proof of concept. And yeah, I didn't sacrifice on quality. I know where I want it to be, and I know where I believe it can be. And so I'm really proud, and I say that on behalf of my entire team, as much as I can speak for them, that it was a team effort. And I may be the producer and showrunner, but it wouldn't have been possible without every person involved.
Mm-hmm. So I just wanted the folks in the chat, I'm solo. I lost my assistant like back in November, so I've been solo ever since. So everybody who's saying hello, Belinda and Eileen. Oh, guess who it is? Eileen Sullivan. And then Jeffrey and my old man eyes are not working for me.
So I know the two people in there. Jeffrey is actually a cosplayer. He was at Go-Go Station too.
Okay.
His one of his Power Rangers that he always does. He's an amazing cosplayer as well. That's Jeffrey. And then Sebastian Torres is a artist, a graphic artist and artist. And he's actually one of the artists that I'm in the communication with for my comic that I've been working on.
So I want to say to all you, I can't respond to you. I can't type responses, so forgive me. I'm so sorry. One day I'll have a qualified assistant again. I haven't been able to find anybody. So if you're out there and you're a qualified assistant that could put up with a lot of shit from me, you should DM me.
Just DM him. He's not that bad.
We can talk, Eric.
Okay. No, seriously. I mean, that's the thing. I got to tell you, and I'll always praise her, but I lost her, unfortunately. I'm not lost her in a bad way. It was I support her moving on. That's because anybody who works for me, if they have something, I don't want to ever keep them from their passion, right? So and I'll support her anyway she went, but she set the bar. That's all I'm going to say. She set a bar for me that I'm just like, I was like, oh, I could go back to being running this shit on my own, not realizing that while she was taking a lot of burden off of me, I was piling more shit on because I had more time. And then she's gone, and now my stack is this big. So, forgive me for not responding in the chat, but if you have questions, I will read them absolutely, and we can get answers. So, yeah, and it's something for the both of you, Frank, Courtney. I'm hoping that I have somebody coming on tonight to help make an announcement of some stuff that I'm sitting on a committee. I don't want to talk about it yet. I don't know if she's going to make it. But our business development stuff, we have a lot going on the film side in the state of New Jersey. We have a lot of relationships where there's a lot of opportunities out there for you film guys and gals. The problem you guys generally have is that you're safe on your budgets. You play it safe. And that's actually a mistake for a lot of independent film people, whether it's a series or whether it's a full feature film. A lot of people go, here's my above the line, below the line budget, and here's the safe budget. And okay, because we can make a movie on this, right? And that's often, believe it or not, is a problem because we're in a lot of these micro budget ranges that there's no help for. Once you get to that, elevated budget, and you start playing in that different field, and you start going, yeah, show me the money, bitch. I want the money to make this movie. I want to tour my movie through all the festivals or my TV show through all the festivals. I want to do cons, and you're asking for all that money. That's a different budget. That changes the playing field for you guys. And that's something that we were able to look into in our production company and set our budgets up, and create what we call a capital stack, which is commonly referred to in the financial community as who's got first position, who's got second position. You know what I mean? And how much sweat, how much equity you got, how much skin you got. So we could definitely talk more about that off camera. And you got friends, Kris. You got friends. You got fans, clearly.
I'm about to take over your position, and I actually have a question.
Yeah.
So that is Bayani. He is actually our creator of the first Filipino comic. He's actually the writer I'm working with for my comic. So that's who's popping up there. I have a question both for Frank and Courtney. Like, what do you think the most challenging thing is? We all know like finances are one of those big things when it comes to production or doing any project, whether it's in film, theater, so on and so forth. What do you guys find the most challenging in the sense when it comes down to your projects?
Courtney?
I was like, Frank?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like I've talked a lot.
You barely said anything.
Yeah.
I'm stoned, so. Go ahead. Go first.
I think for me, I'll say two things. Post-production was definitely a beast. And because this was I've been on set as an actor, but this was my first time really producing, and I had worked at a production company, so I was around the process. But this was my first time at bat spearheading it all the way through. And normally, like as an actor, you hit wrap and go, hey, I might never even see this again, but have a good time. It was great working with you. But as the producer, you have to keep going. And so post-production was just a whole different world. I had to learn a lot. And thankfully, that I think is a skill I have as a producer, is knowing what I'm not good at. So I'm like, I'm not an editor. Let me get an editor that has done this before. And then let me find a visual effects artist that can also allow me to learn. And I'm really grateful that along the way, they weren't just like, oh, you don't understand how this works. Why don't you understand how this works? It was more met with like, no, this is how it works, and let me explain it to you. And it was sometimes tense, but it was a learning opportunity that I'm so grateful for now. And then I think my biggest lesson and one of the hard things is like communication. And as long as you communicate, you can figure things out. You can adjust. You can move the timelines. It is the radio silence that I found really challenging from at various times throughout my team. And I'm nothing if not a follow-up, but it is like that would be my thing, is just make sure everyone's communicating at all times, because you don't want to be in the situation where it's like, oh, you just don't communicate, and then I have to go, okay, so you're just not doing what we agreed you would do. And that's what I like have to believe, and that's not the reality. But it's like you just got to be open, understand, like, if up, just be honest with me and we can adjust the timeline. But if I don't hear from you, then I'm just like, okay, are you not doing it? And then that becomes its problem in and of itself. So I think those were my two huge takeaways, was long post-production can take and continuing to chug it along, and then making sure just everyone is communicating at all times.
So, the same question for you, Frank. By the way, Frank, Belinda says breathe, Frank.
Belinda's my assistant. Challenging. Well, the thing is, my son and I work on these films. So my role is producing as far as well, I also write. So I write, I produce, and I'm trying to think of something challenging, because it's just like we've been doing this for 10 years. And the thing is that we financed a lot of our films in the beginning because a lot of them were shorts. And we didn't start making features until maybe 3 years ago with the first one with Ginger, The Gifted. And that was our biggest film at the time, at that date. But now that our films are getting bigger and our ideas are getting bigger, it's just keeping up with that. You know, before we just did shorts, now our films are getting bigger and bigger. And it's like, how do it's just hard to keep up with that. And what's challenging is that I do have a full-time job. August has a full-time job, and he's raising my grandson. And it's just finding the balance of getting a movie done that you're on for months at a time, and going to work and finding the time to write and to focus, to do some business over there. Most of the time I don't want to go to conventions, but I have to, just to kind of go network and stuff a little bit. Yeah. It's just doing all that, it's just challenging. If I didn't have a full-time job, it'd be a lot easier to get things done and just concentrate on a project. So
sure. I want to jump back to you, Courtney, because that's one of my biggest bones of contention in everything is communication. Radio silence, not keeping to the schedule. I'm a fucking deadline Nazi. I 100% will lose my shit. If I don't say it's okay to miss the deadline, it's not okay. And communication is huge. So how did you address those issues as you were dealing with them? What was some of the things you did to align people so they would communicate with you?
Yeah, it's continuing to follow up, and like my tongue-in-cheek, more sarcastic response is like, what a perfect world it will be when I am not texting you or emailing you every day. Won't you eventually respond so I'm not texting or emailing you every day? But yes, but also understand, like, it was a very ultra low budget. It was people working for free, people taking other jobs that actually are paying them. And so there is the flexibility on my end of finding, and that's why I say, like, as long as you communicate with me, we'll make a new game plan. Right. We'll adjust however we need to. And especially when I'm like not paying you right now. And it's like, yeah, you get the triangle of good, fast, or cheap. and I got good and I got cheap, but I didn't necessarily get fast all the time, and that's okay. I'm not saying that as a negative. It's just the reality and like your given circumstances of the situation. But ultimately, it was just texting them, emailing them, calling them, having conversation, and then keeping the ball rolling. And I always kind of describe myself as I'm the little engine that could. So I will just keep chugging. And yeah, so but I think ultimately, like, if you can communicate and find people that communicate well, then you're going to be successful.
Yeah. And then, going to you, Frank, the full-time job, the production, things like that. I mean, you're, at both of you, actually, you're the epitome of the entrepreneur. You wear 17 hats. You're the CFO, the CEO, the writer, the director, the producer, the marketing person, so on and so forth, as you're building your empire. And then you do that one thing. You don't have, your assistant leaves you. Belinda, don't leave him. And then you realize, oh, I piled all this extra stuff on my plate, and now I need help. So yeah, I mean, and to answer Chris's question, I think those are things that you've hit. It doesn't matter whether you're in film or you're making a comic book or you're running a bakery or whatever. Those are those same entrepreneurial problems, period. It happens everywhere. But I'm going to answer that question from my perspective is when I work with Tina, my biggest problem is I get voluntold. I do. I get voluntold. And I mean, I got to be honest with you. Like, that was one of the things when she wanted to, when she was sitting there and she brought me Bug House and she said, we want to make this. I was just like, and she's like, oh, and for me, the film industry is really two things. It's the trailers and the opening credit sequence. And the third thing is the marketing, right? Those are really important to me as a creative communicator. I the movie stuff is great. I don't want to be making movies in that deep dive, right? Where you guys kind of are. I like the opening credits. That's a very important thing for me. It's something I literally watch opening credits, and I'll stop a film and I'll move on to another movie just to watch the opening credits, just to see how they're leading into the story. Like, what are they doing to set you up? That's really important to me. For whatever reason, that's where I landed.
That's all. Move on to the next opening credits.
Yeah,
the next opening credits.
I will sit there and I will watch opening credits. I'll have watched. So like 7 is one of the best opening credit sequences as far as I'm concerned, that you could top 10 easy.
But a lot of films now don't even do opening credits anymore.
And they're fucking idiots for it. Right?
They just cut to the chase, and I hate it.
Well, you know what it is? It becomes that exposition. They've replaced that opening credit prologue with first act exposition. Right? That's the way I see it. So they want to tell, and I hate sitting through a ton of exposition in the first act. It's like, I really don't fucking care. Who's the killer? Let's get that moving. Let's get that part moving. Let's get the dumb white girl who wants to go investigate the scary house. Because we know it's always some, sorry, Courtney. It's always some dumb white girl.
It's fine.
No, I'm sorry. It's always, anyone else will be like, no, we're not doing this. I'm going that way.
Especially like if you grew up in like Patterson or the BX or some hood, and there was always that old house, you're like, nah.
Yeah, we went the other way. Well, I didn't grow up in the Bronx. I grew up in Brooklyn, but yeah. Either which way, we were. If something happened, we're not investigating. We're gone. There's no investigation. That investigation. That if I'm not a detective and I'm not the police, I am not investigating shit.
And I mean, look, again, I just think
New York City had some big serial killers where we had Sam and the Zodiac. So yeah, we're going, and now the Go-Go Beach killer. We're not investigating shit. We keep it moving.
Yeah. But I think one of the things is like, that's what with Bug House, because of that shoestring budget, that having to wear 27 different hats, having to worry about guerrilla shooting, or I was just like, no, I am not doing this again. It's I have resources. I know about stuff. I'll do my research. Thank God, for whatever the people I know, the people and we're just not doing this shit. We are going to hire people. End of story. I am not going to sit there and edit a feature length film because we are broke as balls. Not doing it. I hate editing.
Oh no, I love editing.
No, I don't mind editing for the commercial. I came out of the commercial side. It's 15 seconds to 2 minutes to deliver my message. I can edit that shit, but I'm not editing a feature film. So I think that's the other struggle you guys face as indies is, again, I go back to that structure, right? You're entrepreneurs wearing 100 hats. You need to knock those hats off and put them on the heads of the people who are the experts, but you can't do that unless you have the right money. And you guys don't really often have the resources to access that or are aware of the resources. And Shy didn't come on, and I was hoping to have her come on to make a big announcement.
Well, we could say what Belinda said. I'm gonna play your assistant right now. Belinda said, "Haha, I won't unless I get big for a big movie. LOL. Frank is the best."
All right, so Frank, I'm gonna probably have to interview Belinda.
Yeah, Belinda's the next interview.
But Belinda's coming with me to the event next month.
All right, awesome. So when she's the next big star, she'll be getting the celebrity table. We'll be interviewing her. We should probably interview like the internal workings of people, like all the executive assistants, and hear what kind of shit talking they're going to say.
Well, they did base the movie on it. The Devil Wears Prada is one of them.
Everywhere's Prada, yeah.
Number 2's coming back.
Oh,
Yes.
I am so there. I love Amanda Priestley. You don't I embody. My hair is based off of Amanda Priestley. Let's just say that.
So
Just a lot shorter.
Total vibes.
for all you filmmakers, indie filmmakers, and folks who are, like, how do I get money? How do I get assistance? How do I get help? June 11th, it's being presented by the Small Business Administration, Region 2, which covers New York, New Jersey, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. And they are hosting, and they have put together something called Small Business by Show Business. It's happening June 11th at Rutgers University in Newark. And it is an event that is strictly focused on everything I'm already tapping into in the state of New Jersey that filmmakers need to know. Not just filmmakers, but even like workers in the film industry, right? How do we work for a film production company? How do we work for all that stuff? How do we get to how do we become the craft table? But also, how do we get access to the films and the resources to make films in the state of New Jersey? Right now, AMC Studios, AMC cable channel, they are going to be part of this. Netflix should be there, as far as I'm aware. So it's really important because Netflix is opening their studios in Monmouth County. Lionsgate is opening their studios in Newark. Paramount has just leased, I think, 250,000, but don't quote me on that, square feet out of 1088 studios in Bayonne. People are hovering all over South Jersey looking for spots in studios. So June 11th, the Small Business by Show Business event is for you guys to get in there, to meet people, to network, to see what resources are out there, to see what distribution channels are out there, right? Because we all know that distribution has its own things you have to deal with, and it's streaming is the number one resource for revenue right now. It's overtaken theaters by 5 to 10 times revenue. But we know if you can get into a theater, even a short run, 7 days, three showings a day in each main hour. If you're in an Academy level city, if you distribute an Academy, you are now eligible for Academy Award application. So there's things like that which are really important that you guys need to know. And I was hoping Shy could announce it because she's just far more bubbly and exciting than I am. She is a personality, and I'm going to chase her down and say, where were you? But yeah, that's happening June 11th for you guys. Frank, you should be there. And Courtney, you should be there. Kris, you should be there. And any filmmaker
I
out
just put
there.
it in my calendar.
should be there. It is not a free event. It's a ticketed event, but it's nominal, right? Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of times free events, it's only 33% attrition on the people who want to come to it, so it's always a very low turnout, and part of those people are only there for the food. So it is a ticketed event because we only want serious people there. I sit on one of the committees for that, so you're going to see that stuff starting to come over our social media. But you guys should be there. It's. I want you to be there. It's very important, I think, for you to be there. So June 11th, yes, you need to be there too. All of you who are watching, put it on your calendar. I will make sure that the links go out. You can hit me up on Facebook. I'll make sure everybody has the links. But that was the announcement, which would have been far cooler if we had Shy on here with her super bubbly personality that just like it's infectious, and she would have taken over the show.
You got it done.
I'm
I got it.
behaving. I don't want to take over your show.
Yes.
Belinda says she can't wait for her interview.
Yeah, no, Belinda. I mean, we'll get.
Are you ladies going to be at that event next month?
So unfortunately, I will not be at the halfway to Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
No, that is my daughter's weekend, so I will be celebrating my princess.
Right on. Mm-hmm.
So
Thank you,
unfortunately, I won't be there, but I will be there in spirit and obviously sending my love. And I'm happy for a lot of people that I've inspired to go and be a part of it. But I will be at AlterCon and Popped.
Popped, okay. I'm over there too.
Yeah,
so
and then
definitely be at Popped. And me being a big paranormal, crypto, horror fan, I'm definitely at AlterCon. That is like my vibe on all levels, other than my other fandoms.
yeah, AlterCon's going to be fun. That's all paranormal stuff. So if you're into the paranormal, check it out. April 25th at the Showboat in Atlantic City. Black Ink Events, blackink.events.
And then they have the VIP experiences too.
Yep, the VIP, and we'll likely be doing the go-kart races at all the events at the Showboat. We're going to have celebrity go-kart races. Popped is going to be really cool because it's a charity race, so we're going to give proceeds to a local charity for that one.
Ooh.
That's going to be really fun. We're going to have a Power Ranger challenge. So we've got Jack Guzman from he was the Black Bison Ranger in one of the Power Ranger series. We have I think and forgive me if I butcher your name, Hien Myung. And again, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. He was a stuntman for 92 episodes of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. He's going to be there repping. And then we have, I believe, another Ranger. I can't remember who, White Ranger coming. So it's going to be a Power Ranger challenge. Everybody's going to get a chance to do a go-kart race against the Power Ranger in July. And see if they can beat the Rangers.
I am too competitive. I'm not even gonna even. I am too competitive. I think that's my bad. There's my falter. I am too competitive.
Yeah. So let me put this up on the screen so everybody can see where Popped is. Let's just make sure. There it is. So yeah, that's what's happening. And then we also have in October, I don't know if it's going to be at the Showboat, but we have a horror and sci-fi film festival, which I want you all at.
Right.
You're all getting tables there on me. Just, I want you guys there promoting yourselves, your careers, your businesses, your stuff. That's really important because that one is, that's mine and Tina's baby as far as, our community, the creative filmmaking community. So we don't care big or small. We're going to be screening. Film submissions are available on Film Freeway under Wicked Garden. We start judging in next month. We start the judging for that next month to start selecting films that will be shown, student films, shorts, and features. And we're looking, you know what, Frank, we should probably screen one of your films.
I was just going to say that, but I was also going to say, Eric, because just in case anyone's watching, how can people submit their
Film Freeway? Yeah, it's filmfreeway.com. I have it here. So if you go to Film Freeway is the largest source for submitting films to every festival in the world internationally, right? And what I like about them is generally there is some festivals that allow you to submit for free, but they really do like to police, like even if it's a $10 fee, they want to make sure that people are serious, right? So there is that gatekeeping, so to speak, on most film festivals where you have to pay something to submit your film. And we like that. And they're very reputable. As a matter of fact, so reputable, folks, that we cannot take any of the money for submissions until after the festival has passed. And I respect that wholeheartedly. I am absolutely fine with that. I think that's
I
beautiful.
think that's fair.
I think
That's
it's
fair.
very fair.
That
So, Courtney, I definitely want you there. Whether, I know it's not a place to promote the Ranger stuff, but you as an actress, a producer and
Yeah.
stuff, you should be there. Frank, we got to get
who
you a
knows?
screen.
She might create a horror themed Ranger episode.
Yeah, right. Let's do
I'm
it.
pretty sure she's capable of doing it. So
Yeah.
you never know. We might get the Power Rangers.
Hey,
and
we can have a Halloween. I'm all for a themed episode.
Yeah,
See?
let's do it. Let's do a hard thing. We could get one of Frank's serial killers to cross over. We'll do a crossover, right?
Listen,
Come-
I saw The Gifted. I came across The Gifted one of my days that I didn't have nothing to watch, Frank, and I have to applaud you on the film. It was not only was Ginger amazing, but the story behind it and how it came about. And I don't know, why does it always, like, this is another thing I've been questioning lately. It's always a priest. What's a priest?
Find the gift.
Sometimes I'm like, listen, I don't know. Every horror that I love always has a priest involved. Always.
Yeah.
The Pope's execution, the Pope's execution. Look, I just came up with a new horror movie, The Pope's
There you
Execution.
go, the Pope's execution.
Yeah.
Let's do that. The Pope's exorcism.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
the only one that didn't have a priest for me was Hannibal Lecter. What was the Exorcism? That's what started me on my horror ventures. The Exorcism.
yeah.
I was that weird little kid that would sit in the dark and watch horror movies.
I gotta say, once I met you, I watched The Gifted. Frank, I was very disappointed because I just was like, okay, I wanted more film. And that was the only thing I wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw the Kickstarter trailer, I was like, oh, okay, we got more Gifted coming.
Yeah, well, The Gifted, when we first shot it, we had Ginger just for a couple days. So we actually thought it was going to be a little bit longer, but it's about an hour. And then we did the prequel, which is The Gifted Original Sin with Ginger. Again, we shot that in Vegas. And then the new one now is Chica La Salvadora, and that's going to be like 90 minutes.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was looking at Film Freeway, and I think if you just go above an hour by like 6 or 8 minutes, it qualifies as a feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
It is qualified as a feature, but it's an hour. It's an hour.
Yeah, but again, I wanted more.
It's qualified. Yeah,
I'm gonna watch The Gifted too, and then we'll.
You're not just gonna watch opening credits, right?
No,
you just watch credits.
I do. Here's the thing: I do watch a movie at least once, and then if I like what I saw, I'll go back and I'll study the opening credits and make my little catty personal critiques over.
You go back. You down to the closing credits now.
Oh, I love the scroll. Well, that's a big thing with me too. Is the closing credits? I hate the scroll. I think a closing, and I'm not talking about a post-credit scene or a mid-credit scene. I just feel like I love those closing credit scenes that keep you still involved in the movie while you have a scroll. So there's always something happening until we get the fade. And so to me, that's also important, in my opinion, to, sort of, you have the end of the story and here's this epilogue, whatever it is. It's not a post-credit scene to set up another film or anything like that. So I always tend to like those, let's just call it a bookshelf, you're just bookends. I like the bookend style, an epilogue and a prologue. And I think the worst in history, in my opinion, opening credit scene was Todd McFarlane's Spawn. I hate that opening credit scene.
The movie?
Horrible.
The
opening
Spawn
credits.
movie.
To the movie? I forgot. Isn't he just like
It's just really bad CG with this
Yeah.
super, Richard Donner Superman. They tried to like sort of make it a really cool, that the opening credits in the Donner Superman were phenomenal for its time because, there was no computers back then, right? So this was all this, work in with film to create it. But then, you have like Spawn, which was a hot comic. You know what I
One of the
mean?
best.
One of the
Like
best.
one of
And
the
he-
best
And
comics.
I'm not going to say it was a bad movie. I mean, to me, it was. It's an acceptable comic book movie.
I felt like they could do better with it. Like
But I
I
think it could
felt
be better.
like they didn't embody the comic too much.
No,
And
they didn't. They didn't.
and
But
and I think that's the thing that people don't realize when you have people like me, like I'm very anal, like Game of Thrones. I read the books. I know how bad HBO, like HBO did a good job to a certain extent, but how much they fucked up by not, and excuse my French, by not following the books through, because if they followed the books the way they was, they would have had more seasons than, and they
yeah, but
wouldn't
that
have
was
cut
the
it
point.
short.
That was the point. It was like, and I know this, and I think you could probably attest to this a bit, Courtney. Is when you have to take somebody's story and screenwrite it now, and you have this
Part of all of it.
budget for this set time. You have to
They
you have
didn't
to
think it
start.
was gonna become popular. That's literally I like sat there and they literally
I don't
said,
know.
"We didn't
I
think
mean,
it was
I know
gonna be
enough about what's
popular."
happening, and you could attest to this too. I think,
And
Frank,
I
is like
think like
you know
when
what's
it
happening in the background. Like, here's our money and here's our budget, and you know, and
no,
they
it
improve.
happens and it sucks, but like you get fans like us that like, when Disney bought Marvel and when Disney bought Star Wars, they made sure to stay true to those stories and visions and bring things to life that like the fandom are like in awe with them.
And
They do the perfect casting and so on and so forth. So when it came down to Spawn, like when I remember when Spawn came out and seeing the movie and being a fan of the comic, I was like, this could have been so much better.
yeah, no, it could have been. I agree with you 100% there, but for the time, for the budget,
It
I
the
thought
happened.
the opening credits absolutely sucked.
See
That's
that?
all I'm
The
saying.
HBO animated series of Spawn.
What?
They did
What, the
have an
animated?
anime series.
You never watched it? It was a shit.
It was really
I
good.
Yeah, it was really
I
good.
didn't
It was
get into it.
done.
Like I just I don't know.
So
But
I'm,
I love Spawn.
I'm gonna switch from the Valkyrie show here back over to the Eric show, if you don't mind.
Sorry.
Chris. I'm fucking with you.
I actually have another question though.
Okay, because I got a
It is a
question for
question for
Courtney.
you. It's a question for you.
I got a question for Courtney.
And it's a question for Frank and Courtney. So it'll be a nice question, but ask your question to Courtney.
Yeah. So going forward, right now, because we talked about you have this pilot episode, and we talked about what it's going to take budget wise for these other episodes, and you can't really say where are we in getting into that second episode. Is it are you looking for a pickup, or are you going to go just ahead and produce?
Yeah, I think our impetus now, because we were, before we launched the episode in January on YouTube, we were privately pitching, and just the world and the state of the industry being no one's buying anything out of it except existing IP. And we are that weird hybrid that it's like, we just need to get the episode out there. And so while I would love if someone like, yes, I want to produce 5 episodes, and like, how do we do that? My immediate focus, while continuing to have that in the big picture, I do have to go, what is the immediate next step? And for us right now, it is that, okay, episode 2 is next. How can we make that? And that is currently what I'm putting into motion and figuring out, and attending conventions, getting more eyes on the episode, sharing our story with as many people as possible, and looking into, okay, how do we make episode 2?
Spell it out for me so I can, because I'll use I'll use the tablet and see if I put it in the. So spell it out. It's what is it? Spell it.
The title of the show?
Yeah.
JAMMINGERS colon an
Well,
overture.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
An overture of gold and silver. So Jamminger's an overture of gold and silver.
One day ago, why should you watch Jamminger's? Okay, this is a YouTube clip. Let's see what this says. Oh, that's you. Okay, Courtney. Episode 1. I'm seeing all the promos. Why are they not showing up? That's why I get the link. Sorry, guys. You guys keep talking. Ask your question. Let me search this.
So the question that I have is,
you could also just put in www.jammingersoverture.com, and that has like all the links to information about the series. The pitch deck, episode 1 lives on our website. So that might be the easiest way. And then people can find our social handles and everything from that.
There it is. Episode 1, 35 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So I was going to say, Courtney, I know you said you started as an actress.
Mm-hmm.
What made you want to do the shift from being in front of the camera to the behind the scenes?
I don't know if it's what made me. It's just what happened. But I also will say, like, I am about as type A as you can be and still be an actor. So there is a lot of the producing that, like, I am just naturally good at. And even at Go-Go Ranger Station, during our panel, people were like, well, how do you keep, like, motivated? And how do you, like, keep... And I was like, I don't know if I have any advice, because that's just, like, naturally who I am. And I just keep going. And so a lot of the organization I found in the producing of it just came naturally to me. And I'm very much a perfectionist and an overachiever, and to an extent, like, I like controlling things. So, like, that's really, you can do a lot of that as the producer. You have a lot of the control. And as I found, like, being the showrunner, like, I loved working with our writer's room. I'm not a writer. I don't want to be. Please don't ask me to write dialogue. I can give you, like, story. I can give you ideas about characters. I can, like, weigh in on the script. But please don't ask me to sit and write something. But working with my writers, like, I loved that entire process, getting to dive deep into the characters. And then it was funny when, like, the first day we shot episode 1, I got to set, and I don't think we were filming any of my scenes that day. And I, like, got there and I was like, I don't think anyone needs anything. And everybody just, like, was working and being into the place, doing all the things for their position and what have you. And I was like, oh, this is weird. I guess my job is done because I put all of you here happening, and everyone is doing the job that we put them to do. And so that's just really fulfilling, like, seeing all of your hard work and everything come to fruition, and just seeing it happen and getting to collaborate and use other people's skills. So I know that was a long-winded way to answer.
No, it was very detailed and thorough.
I kind of fell into it, and then it just evolved of, like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to do this. And yeah, just along the way, like I said before, I worked at a production company. So that gave me a lot of experience being on set. I had my own experience as an actor, but that kind of gave me, from being pre-production through post-production and just being around to see how to run things efficiently. So all of those things, I think, eventually led me to be like, oh yeah, I'll produce. And yeah, like, it fulfills a lot of my brain that acting doesn't fulfill. And then acting also fulfills a lot of things that producing won't be able to fill. So it's fun to be both sides.
So I'm gonna give you. So Mark says to you, Frank, who's the guy in the top right box? He looks like he's waiting to say something epic. And then he also says to you, Courtney, her experience is official and the transparency is highly respected. Respect.
Oh, April's on.
April. April, you want to come on live?
So, Frank, I know you didn't start as an actor. What inspired you to do film and writing?
Well, my son got me into this. So if it wasn't for my kid, I never would be here. But um, 10 this year's our 10th anniversary. So 10 years ago, my son, he went to class, he went to ETSU, and then he was in a mass media class and all that other stuff. And then he worked for a news station. And for what I could recall that night, he might have a different story. I don't know, or it might be a little different, but he saw a poster on a window or something about a horror film festival coming up. So he messaged me. I was up. He knew I was up late at night, and he messaged me really late, like maybe 2 a.m, and said, "Hey, Dad, I went to school, all this and that." He's like, "You want to try making a horror movie?" And that's how it all started. So I didn't, the next 3 months later, I found myself on a mountain in Kingsport, Tennessee, filming a movie where people were asking for my opinion and all this other stuff. So I immediately got the bug.
Oh,
So
wow.
after that, our second film, I wrote a script, and it was my first thing I'd ever done anything like that. And back then it was just using our friends. Everyone was working for free, and we did a film called Center City, and that's when August started really finding his groove as a director. Uh, so we just kind of it opened up a lot of doors for us. It won Best Picture. It's been all over the country, and it's a 10-minute short, black and white film noir, and we filmed all over Philadelphia and Center City. So after that's how I just got into it. And then we kind of just fell into the genre of horror. We never and that's where we've been since. So we have over 20 films underneath our belt. Most of them were shorts, but I think we got maybe 3 features or 4 features, something like that.
That's awesome. Thank you, April. I appreciate that. So I have to ask, do you feel like, being that you come from a Hispanic background, does it we have so many myths and so many paranormal experiences and stuff. Do you feel like that's what also made it come so naturally to you?
No, but I always wanted to make a film incorporating those stories that my grandmother used to tell me and all these folklore Hispanic stories. But what inspired me is just working with my son, and he and I don't know, I kind of grew up as the only child, so I have a pretty good imagination because I was all alone most of the time. And I smoke a lot of weed. So every script I've written is being stoned. Every script I'm completely stone writing. So you combine that with, you let your creativity come out, and combine that with your imagination. And as long as you have a great premise, you can come up with a great story. And and if you can tell a story, it could be on page. But I never went to school for this. I don't even know what I'm doing half the time, to be honest. But whatever I'm doing is working, and we've been down it for 10 years. And I just wrote that Chica La Salvadora, and I really, that's a personal film of mine, because it's like I said, I wanted to film in Los Angeles. That's where I'm originally from, but our business partners didn't work out. So, like I said, this film is all Hispanic, and it's got all the characters are my family members, their names, and so I'm excited to have a Hispanic cast. It's our first time, and that's what I'm excited about right now. And I can't wait till it's over, because we start filming in July, but I can't wait till the movie's over so I could just rest.
It's all about that rest.
yeah, it's too much.
I'm sorry I'm taking over, Eric, but how important do you feel, and I'm gonna rephrase this question for you, Courtney, but how important do you feel that representations, especially for Latinos or Hispanics, are in this day and age, especially when it comes to film, and how a lot of our stories are coming forward full force, whether it's in the music or in film?
You sure you don't want to save these questions to get them on your podcast so I can have my show back?
I'll bring them onto my podcast too and do a full thorough, but I want
what I was
people to
saying.
hear too.
I'm fucking
Now
with
that
you.
you mentioned all that, could I, like I said, this is about a Hispanic family with, they're raising this child that has an ability, it comes out and they're dealing with that, but it kind of the story spans over a 40-year period,
Mhm.
and it kind of catches up to the present time of where we're at as people and what this Hispanic family is going through and who they go up against at the end of the movie. I just give it away, but I got ice in this fucking movie. So, and that's a personal choice that I wanted to make, how can I get ice in this movie, and how can I have them get beat up, and how can I, have what I felt about what I feel about them. So I have these characters, they're fighting against ice, and they're getting killed, but ice is also getting killed in a supernatural way. So it's, like I said, it's personal, and I hate it when what I saw, over the years with what's going on with the Hispanic community and with them. So it's heavily Hispanic theme, and like I said, it catches up to the times, and wrapped around in a supernatural character.
Melinda says no spoilers.
Spoilers. Yeah.
I know, but I was like, whatever. But you know what, guys?
We only got that one spoiler. There's gonna be like an ultimate scene that's gonna be like, oh my god. But Courtney, for you as a woman in the industry, and I like focusing on this because I'm a woman myself, and then I'm a Latina at the end of the day. But how do you feel the representation of women, not only in front of the camera, but behind the camera, is of importance in today's day and age?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I mean, take Sinners, where the cinematographer just won the Academy, and she's the first, like, if you haven't watched her speech, go watch it. Because immediately she was like, I need every woman to stand up in this room because I don't get here without all of y'all. And I think, yeah, it's incredibly important. I think because I do a lot of, I cast as well. And so how can I make sure, and how can I continue to push that our screens and our stages look like our world, and they just don't. And that's something with Jamingers I really wanted, both in front and behind the camera, is I am always looking for ways to make sure women, non-binary, like everyone can, if they are interested in telling this story, gets to have a voice somewhere in it. And I think it's important. I think we can all learn from each other, and I don't have our experiences, and I am not the person to always tell those stories, and I shouldn't be telling stories that I can't like personally convey. But how stories be told, how can I lift other people up, put other people in rooms, speak other people's names? I think that for me is so important. And then just like, yeah, more women in film. And it's sad because I think it was either 2024 or 2025, like the women director percentage like had increased. And then I think 2025, it decreased again. And it's like, we can't let that happen. And that's something like I think about when I'm looking at future episodes, and it's like, okay, I want to get our percentages up. And it's not, I hate thinking about it that way, but the numbers also, like, it is important to think about it that way, of making sure, hey, are we increasing the percentage of women or people of color? Like, are those percentages continuing to get higher? Because people don't traditionally get those jobs. And so how can I create space as a producer to provide that opportunity and also that experience to those people who may not get it.
So I wanna level up on this question a bit because, there's always barriers. Period. End of story. Whether you're Hispanic, you're woman, you're gay, you're black, you're a criminal, you're not a college graduate. Like there's always these stereo. I want to say in this case, I won't say stereotypes in those barrier directions, but there's this stereotype like, oh, this guy graduated college and he graduated film school, so he is going to be more likely a successful add-on to our studio, and or oh, this is men are more successful at directing. There's these barriers, and is for both of you, and you could decide who answers first. How do you think, besides, and you're talking about making pathways, Courtney, what are some other ways besides doing your part, pathways wise, that you think you can break down these barriers? Wow, everybody's quiet.
I was like, that's a good question. And I think that is also the question people aren't asking. And it's,
I would
yeah,
like to,
I was like, I don't have a good answer. I don't know other than to keep trying and make the most effort and impact myself, and then hope that other people also want to do that. And I do think like diversity, equity, and inclusion, like I think it is but it can always be more, obviously.
I think diversity, equity, inclusion has to stop being monetized by corporations, and genuinely, we see this in the not-for-profit work on the stuff that we do. Is corporate America sucks because it's all about and again, I respect like Amazon giving people benefits, first day on the job, part-time, sending them to school. Like they all do their fair share, but there's certain things that are just like, how do we monetize this? How do we monetize this? How do we monetize? And we find that the end result, and interestingly enough, I know a few people in New Jersey here that are in the governor's offices and the state, and they even see and they realize you guys, people in the community, part of the community, are the ones who are going to drive improvements. These corporations, these chambers and not-for-profits that are there for their grant money every year, who are doing the bare minimum, they are not. So I think it goes back to one of the early things, besides creating pathways, that you had talked about, was collaborating, finding the like-minded people. That's my perspective.
And being intentional. Like I know for casting, when I'm doing that, and like if a director is wanting a specific identity, it's like, put that in your casting call. Yeah. Don't just say open ethnicity if you want a Latina or if you want AAPI actor. Like put it in there. Be as specific as possible.
I agree with that.
Because then those people who identify that way are going to go, oh, they're asking for me, and they're going to feel welcome into the room, and they're going to want it, and they will show up. But if you just put open ethnicity, sometimes people are going to be like, oh, they're just looking for anyone, so they wouldn't even consider me. But especially, if a director or anyone like has a very specific picture, be as specific as possible in the casting or in the crew call. Like if you want a certain type of director, put that out there, be specific. And then that's going to, I think, allow other people to be like, oh, I should submit for this because I identify that way.
You good?
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I mean, it's a great, I didn't really think about intention or specificity being that important, to be quite honest with you. I wasn't even thinking along those lines. Thank you for that. It's very, very poignant and very true. Frank, your take on how do we break through some barriers? Any thoughts?
I don't know. I
Well,
really
Listen,
he's broken through them himself. Like, if you really think about Frank's career, he didn't come through as going into or going to film school. And it
Yeah.
was his son that inspired him, not the other way around. It
Thank
was that joint. And then the fact that he's a Latino and
Mhm.
he's a father and they're a father-son duo. He's kind of a role model for one of those breaking the barriers.
Yeah, and we like to help people as much as we can. We're always trying to help new up and coming filmmakers, whatever it takes. We love helping people getting their projects off the ground.
yeah, Belinda said, I'm a disabled member of the LGBTQ family, and Frank gave me a chance. I agree with everything you guys are saying. Break down the barriers. So kudos to you, Frank.
Yeah.
There you go.
He said he didn't have an answer.
I
Belinda,
know.
the amazing
Belinda had the
that
answer.
is,
I'm just-
answered it for him.
I'll probably have to leave because I have to get up early in the morning. I've been stoned for the past couple of hours. And
Well, that's
tired.
fine. I mean,
I didn't answer any questions.
no, this was great.
Actually, there was a question.
Sure, you're not going to
Mark
let him
was-
go.
No, I am gonna let him go. But Mark wanted to know where can he find his films, Frank's films.
Strange. You go on YouTube. All our films are for free, and we have movies on Tubi and Amazon. But on our Strange Film Studios YouTube channel, all of our films are free, and they have music videos and mock beer commercials, documentaries, and all of our films. You can watch the Gifted films there tonight.
Nice.
It's a really good one.
Gonna have
I
to
thought
watch
it was
Gifted
good.
tonight.
Nice meeting you.
It was a pleasure, Frank.
Frank.
Oh, trust me, I'm going to be bothering you
Don't bother
for
me.
a
fine.
full, thorough breakdown on the
That's
poison
bother me.
daily.
And let's all keep in touch. I'm sorry. I'm just like beat.
It's okay.
No.
I
No, it's
actually
fine.
have to drive to Philly tomorrow. I have a con, so
Oh yeah. Which one is
Yeah.
it?
I will be at a taco fest at Cherry, Cherry Pier, I believe it's called.
Oh, Cherry Street Pier.
Yeah,
Well, anyway, I know where it's at. But
I will be there.
what time are you gonna be there? Well, actually, I'm working tomorrow, but
All right, you two, let me close this out. So I want to thank you, Frank, for being here and being
Thank
part
you.
of this. I want to thank you for participating in our events. I really appreciate you for that. Thank you so much.
thank you.
And Courtney, thank you for coming on. I know you didn't know what to expect. And your information, your perspective, is super insightful. Thank you so much for that. And of course, Kris, as always, you and we got shit to do. So
Always. I
we're-
gotta finish getting this cosplay together, and I think I have a 2-hour drive tomorrow. So, I'm coming from
folks,
Brooklyn.
Hit Black Ink events for ticket information. See these folks at our events, and follow these guys and gals on Instagram. They would love to have you follow them if you're not already following them. Thank you, everybody, for checking in with us and making your comments. Folks, it has been a pleasure, and we're going to do this again real soon. All right, you guys have a good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.